title, Setting a Precedent for Research and Teaching. In fact, it's a film and digital poster, as you can see from the outline. We'll start off with some introductions. I'll speak about the importance of the project for research and teaching. Then we'll go into the film, poster, and a conclusion. Next slide, please. Okay, so my name is Andrew Fuyarchuk, and I'm faculty at Yorkville University. And Egor's next.
My name is Egor Trushin, and I am a freelance producer and videographer, as well as a recent Toronto Film School graduate, as well as the currently student of Yorkville University.
Good afternoon. My name is Angèlie Gilchrist Blanchard, and I am a graphic design and interactive media student at the Toronto Film School.
Okay, great. Unfortunately, as we said, Colleen couldn't join us. Okay, next slide, please. Colleen is a graphic design as well at Toronto Film School, graphic design student there. Okay, so what about the project? So like most researchers, I'm published in peer-reviewed journals. I'm assistant editor to a managing editor for the Journal of Chinese Philosophy. I do all the scholarship and academic work that you'd expect of professors at the university. In terms of my teaching, naturally, I've adjusted to the demands of teaching online over the last 2 years. And I've learned how to use, well, not just PowerPoint, we all knew how to use that, but Sway, Kahoots, Powtoons, and all sorts of other teaching strategies that make it more engaging for the students. But I never thought of an alternative method for research and teaching until the pandemic. So when the pandemic really hit, of course, I was doing all of the above, but something else entered into my research and teaching strategies I wasn't expecting, and it's been a joy throughout. Next slide, please. So during the pandemic, it was suggested by the Dean of Academics, Angela Komenick, that I submit a proposal for faculty funding to create a film that was then extended to a digital poster. And the idea was to build upon my experiences, oddly enough, with poaching of turtles, wild turtles in Ontario. But this opened up new opportunities, which I think are relevant to research and teaching in general. Number one, by creating a film and digital poster, having the proposal accepted, I would have the opportunity to cement ideas about the environment, in this case, wild turtles, in film and digital media rather than printed matter alone. And this was a new development. You know, as an academic and scholar, I've been educated in the printed word like most of us. I never thought of bridging into really visualizing these ideas in these other formats. I also had the opportunity to collaborate with Toronto Film School students and graduates in the creation of these products. And then finally, which was, I thought, a novel idea, including fresh perspectives in both research and teaching, because the products are incorporated into courses. So by doing this, by going out into the environment, which could be considered a countercultural move during a pandemic. So this was not on Zoom. This was out in the woods. This was filming despite pandemic conditions with one-on-one interviews or more than that really in live face-to-face settings. By doing all of this, we met the goals of Yorkville University and Toronto Film School to be cross-disciplinary on the one hand with me in the humanities and then people from the Toronto Film School and media studies, graphic design, that's interdisciplinary. But we also had the opportunity to meet the goal of the university and TFS to blur the lines between the city and the classroom, interestingly enough, during a pandemic. And this was also new for me because normally my research, I'm always speaking with other scholars and people in my field with expertise. And this is the first time I'd engaged in, you could call it positional epistemology or working with people in the field. Doing that primary research with the spokespersons involved in issues on the ground. Next slide, please. So I didn't have the expertise, as I think I've suggested, to either create a film or a digital poster, and used funding to commission director of film and graphic designers from Toronto Film School. Now over to Egor and Angèlie. Egor, please.
Hello, everyone. Once again, my name is Egor Trushin, and I was a producer and a director of the mini documentary titled Turtles of Ontario, Silent Cry for Help. And I would like to just give you a brief summary of the production of the mini documentary and our experiences and how we operated this in a new environment. But first, a small sneak peek to the documentary.
I think you need to click share screen again and ensure that you put the check mark beside share sound.
Apologies. Screen is sharing.
Yeah, click on the screen share button, and then there's a little check mark or a box that you can place a check mark in beside share computer sound.
Okay. How about now?
Perfect.
When it comes to turtles, uniqueness appears to be the motivator.
They're a very important part of the environment.
Turtles are one of the biggest components of a healthy wetland.
They are helpless creatures. They're very slow, easy to catch.
People want something that others do not have.
They don't really have much to defend them, so they need a helping hand.
So now I want to give you a small summary of the preparation that we had to make. So when we started the production, COVID restrictions and the limitation were at its peak. We had to adjust multiple elements of the production to make it work. Moving our production meetings online, coordinating preliminary interviews over Zoom, phone calls, and or conference calls, limiting the number of people for the tech scouts, not to mention reducing the overall amount of people present on set for the shoot. Limited and conducting the interviews with the potential hosts over apps such as Zoom. During the production, we have faced multiple complications and challenges, and it certainly got a lot harder to operate under the new regulations. However, there are tools in place put by the government and the industry professionals that made our job possible. In order to ensure safety of our crew and interviewees, we made sure everyone wears masks. We had COVID protocol in place as per Ontario Ministry of Health template. We had temperature checks and COVID questionnaires conducted on set during the film's days, as well as prior and afterwards. It's worth mentioning that now there are even more tools available for the production such as ours. Not so recently, Ministry of Natural Health Ontario allowed and provided rapid test kits for all the film productions, which are provided free by the government. I would like to show another small clip, and then go into the importance of projects such as ours.
Pretty important for people, especially at the time that we're in right now, to sort of take some time to observe and enjoy the little things, right? And they do need us right now. They need our protection, and there's more and more risks. There's more and more traffic going through there. And so I think it's a really good idea to have regular citizens aware of these species, aware of how they can help them, and just how important it is for the environment.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I would like to conclude my statement with pointing out the importance of such projects, and also mentioning that no matter how many tools and how many opportunities and how many adventures the outside sources provide to us, the main reason why it was possible is people. People who we interviewed, for example, were law enforcement officer from Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, regional directors from Wildlife Enforcement of Environment, Climate Change Canada, medical directors of the Ontario Conservation Center, Turtle Conservation Center, 2 volunteers from Heart Lake Turtle Troopers in Brampton, Ontario. All of them pointed out and understood the importance of the education. As a matter of fact, they called education and projects such as this the most efficient trigger to change. Which is why I'm extremely happy for the opportunity to work on this project and make it happen under the restrictions and regulations and the environment of COVID. And even more happy to be able to share our experiences with all of you. Thank you. I will pass this presentation along.
Thank you. I couldn't find my unmute button there for a moment. So hello, everyone. I'm Angèlie. So I'm going to walk you through the process of creating this digital poster. So how did it come to be? Basically, Colleen and I answered a call put out to the students of the graphic design program at TFS for someone to assist with the creation of a scientific poster for an upcoming conference. This one. Details on the scope of the project were kind of slim, but we were really wanting to build our portfolios and really get in some of that real world experience. So we were excited to join the team. The team, as it turns out, is a diverse cross of people, including an educator, a TFS film production grad, 2 graphic design students, as well as a Yorkville University interior design student. We're a cross-generational group and have varied backgrounds and perspectives, not to mention the geographical spread of the team with members in the GTA, Ottawa, and Montreal. So right off the bat, it became pretty clear that relying on individual strengths would be a key success for the completion of this project, as well as the varying degree of perspectives and feedback that we could provide to one another. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about how Colleen and I were able to get this poster together while working as a team completely online. So after having completed 2, now 3 full terms completely online, Colleen and I were no strangers to collaborating 100% just online. We knew that in order to best support our design approach for the poster, that we would need to provide both visual examples as well as spend some time walking the group through our plan. We're the ones who push pixels all day, so we understood that a play-by-play of our process would be necessary. And we were able to do that by using a combination of Zoom face-to-face meetings and email correspondence. We also used Zoom and Discord to collaborate between Colleen and I just together, as well as Asana to keep track of our deliverables. So here's the poster that we created, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about what we felt was most important in making the design choices for the poster so that it could be an effective learning tool. So we all know from firsthand experience how many pulls for an individual's attention there are throughout the day, especially right now, since most of us are at home or learning virtually and teaching virtually like this. So we understood that we needed to create something that would be as engaging as possible. Keeping in mind time and data constraints, we chose to focus on 3 things: color, proper organization of the information, and inclusion of some illustrative elements. With a little bit more time to spare from our school schedules, we would have also liked to have incorporated some additional interactive elements, such as some animated features or some integrated video, even some affiliated web components. At the risk of sounding like a cliche, the opportunities in developing ideas digitally are, in fact, pretty much endless. Thank you.
Outstanding, and thank you, Egor and Colleen. It's a pleasure working with both of you and hearing your perspectives and your knowledge. So what about the outcomes of the film and the poster collaboration? As has been suggested, on the one hand, the students hone their skills, network, develop portfolio, contribute to content of courses, which I think is a novel idea. Through faculty-student collaborations, you have co-creation in the development of course content. I think that's kind of input faculty want. Faculty on their side benefit from fresh perspectives, opportunity to cement ideas in visual format, and embed media in their publications. Something I never thought of doing before was to take an article or publication and embed a film or a digital poster link inside it. But now that opportunity has occurred to me. The project itself clearly blurs the line between the classroom and the environment. given the fact that this was the focal point was the poaching and conservation of wild turtles. It exemplifies diversity in collaboration as well. I think that's been spoken to in terms of the collaboration and the nature of the team. Co-creation, of course, content with students. I think I mentioned that, pardon me. And finally, we can embed something else I mentioned, digital media in the conventional medium for a transmission of research. Bit of repetition there, but you get the idea. I mean, you can do a lot more, as Colleen said. The possibilities are really endless when it comes to digital media, and I'd like to encourage everyone to change the, I guess, the image of scholarship and research by taking this a similar sort of step, and also in terms of teaching methods and learning. So I think that concludes our presentation now, Greg and Nusha, and we could take questions.